Elimination of property taxes in Florida. Florida may abolish property taxes. Many Florida property homeowners would see their property bills eliminated. So much for the headlines. And now I would like you to understand how in reality the changes if approved in November are going to affect your property taxes in Florida. Here is a little reality check, actually a big reality check, so you can see what's true and what's very much incorrect. Let's look at the numbers. Before we do that, let me read a quick disclaimer, which is absolutely necessary in this business. Here you go. The information provided is for illustrative purposes only and is intended solely to demonstrate the impact of changes in tax law on the amount of taxes paid by eligible property owners. This analysis is not intended to calculate the property taxes for any specific property, including your property. The property tax rate, millage rate, and the property's assessed value are subject to change. The analysis uses sample properties for illustrative purposes only. To obtain information specific to your property, please contact your local tax office, such as the Sarasota County Tax Collector's Office. Once we have this out of the way, let's look at a spreadsheet that I created. I'm not going to go over all the numbers and make it extremely boring. If you are interested, you can pause this video and review the numbers. I just want to very quickly give you the logic behind the calculations here. First of all, a quick summary. If the new law passes, the law that was approved by Florida Senate, if it passes in November, the homestead exemption for property owners who are bona fide Florida residents is going to increase from $50,000 to $150,000 in 2027, and then it's going to increase to $250,000 in 2028. Now, the first observation. So the new property, the increase is not $150,000, it's $100,000 because currently Florida homeowners enjoy the exemption of $50,000. So this is gonna, the true benefit is an additional $100,000 exemption and not $150,000. And then the next year it's gonna be $200,000 and not $250,000. I mean, it's gonna be $250,000, but the increase is $200,000. And very important point. This is key. These exemptions starting in 2027 do not apply to school taxes. The latest data that's available currently is the information for taxes paid in year 2025. Let's look at the spreadsheet here. So first of all, the property at the time they assessed the value, the market value of the property was about $750,000. The assessed value right here, according to the tax collector's office, was, let me mark that for you here, $567,600. The exemption was $50,722. I will explain later where the 722 comes from. And if we subtract the exemption amount from the assessed value, we arrive at taxable value. And let's mark it here like that. And then we have tax rate, which historically is called millage rate. Millage rate, here it is right here. And in this specific area, it changes based on your location. In this specific area, it's 14.9292, which translates directly into, if you prefer percentages, it transfers into 1.49292% of your taxable value. So this mileage rate right here is used to calculate the taxes you owe on specific specific charges applied to specific services that you're paying for when you live in a Florida county, one of the Florida counties. So, and then the spreadsheet calculates the actual taxes in 2025. Let's mark that for you here in a different color. And then if in 2027 the exemption grows by $100,000 and it's increased to $150,000, in this example $150,722, then our taxes, obviously our taxable value is going to be reduced. Now, this does not apply to school taxes. So as you can see, the reduction right now is, or in 2025, was $25,000 and not $50,000. And then it's still gonna be $25,000 and not $150,000. This is how it applies to how the school taxes, basically the new law does not apply to school taxes and will not reduce the school taxes. Now, this is a big deal because your school taxes charge quite a bit. If you look at the mileage rate, let me remove this background here. If you look at the rate for school taxes, that's actually pretty high. And in case on this specific property, it represents about or over 40% of the tax charged to this property, which was in 2025 was $7,873.36. So, to make a long story short, the headlines, in my opinion, I understand the media must be dramatic. They want to keep you glued to the screen, or to continue listening to a radio station or reading articles and generating clicks. But if they were more genuine, if they wanted to tell you the whole truth, the increase of the exemption in 2027 for this specific property, assuming that everything else is constant. The mileage rate, as already said in the disclaimer, may change. The property values may change, but we have to use the same numbers to just show you the tax impact, or not the tax impact, but the change the law makes to your actual the taxes you're paying. So on this specific property in 2027, you are going to save about $900, $883 to be exact, on this property, assuming that everything else stays the same, which it will most likely not, but again, this is just to show you the model. So you would be saving $883, which represents approximately 11% of the tax you paid in 2025. So let's look at 2028. I'm not gonna go over this again. I don't want you to fall asleep watching this. So here is the impact of an increased exemption, and this only applies to ad valorem taxes. And ad valorem taxes, if you have not heard the term before, it's basically taxes based on value. There are also non-ad valorem taxes. I'll show you a little example with a less expensive home. Again, this applies to a home that was worth approximately, the market value of the home was about $750,000, an assessed value $567,600. Now, when the exemption in 2028 goes to $250,000, the taxable value is going to be reduced even more. It's basically another $100,000. Now, again, it does not apply to school taxes. That's why this reduction is less impactful. But the reduction is going to be on this specific property close to $1,800 per year. And that represents about 22, a little bit over 22% of taxes paid in 2025. Now, let's look at less expensive property. This example shows a property that had an estimated value of $350,000 at the time when the property value was assessed. The assessor assigned a value of $325,000. Then there is an exemption amount, and this is the properties I'm talking about. Those are actual properties, and the owner also enjoyed the $722 additional exemption. And this property owner in 2027 would basically save $537.85. So it's hard to talk about, eliminating property taxes, or, abolishing property taxes, or, seeing property taxes being eliminated, or the tax bills being eliminated. This is simply not true, and I hope this is a decent reality check for you. Now, this is in year 2027. If it goes to, the next year in 2028, this homeowner, and again, assuming everything stays constant, the mileage rate, the property value, for the purpose of the model. So just basically trying to show you the impact of the law changes, and again, if they get approved by voters in November, actually specifically on November 3rd. So that's how it's going to affect the property. The taxable value would go down a lot because this is, relatively less valuable, cheaper property. We're talking $350,000 assessed at $325,000. The taxable value goes to, less than $75,000, but for the school tax purposes, it still stays at $300,600. So his savings on this specific property would be, savings in 2028 would be $1,076. This represents a reduction of 32.49%. And when this specific property, which is located in Sarasota, had also non-ad valorem taxes, or taxes that are added to, they're not based on value. They're taxes for certain services that the local government decides to assess. So the additional non-ad valorem taxes for this specific property were $590. And then when we look at the realistically at the reduction this homeowner is going to enjoy on his property, it's just 20, let's say 28%. Now, talking about elimination, I don't think this is something that is truthful and correct. However, when I see property taxes in many states going up year after year, and sometimes going up significantly, I'm happy to take the reductions in Florida, and I think that Governor Ron DeSantis has done a heck of a job here, facing the opposition, and trying to make Florida bona fide Florida residents' lives easier. Now, there are also a couple of things that are good for Florida residents. If you are a homeowner in Florida, there is a provision that your taxes cannot go up. Again, for homesteaded properties, your taxes cannot go up more than 3% per year, or the rate of consumer price index, if the consumer, whichever is lower. So if the consumer price index goes up in a certain year by 2%, then your tax rate on your homesteaded property can only increase by 2%. If, on the other hand, the inflation is higher, then they can increase your taxes only by 3%. Now, if the inflation goes, if the inflation is, let's say, 5% year after year, and your property tax is limited to 3%, then you are and your property value goes up more. Then there is a thing in Florida called portability, and this is if you sell the home and go to a new home, then your tax savings on that property that you have lived in for a number of years can be transferred. If you meet all the criteria, they can be transferred to your new property. I hope it helps. I hope you find it valuable. I would be happy to hear from you as comments how your state performs. I know Cook County in Illinois and DuPage County in Illinois have just not that long ago send you your tax bills, and the taxes are going to be due soon, and they have increased their taxes. So if you could share your experience, that would be very interesting, not only for me but also for other people who watch this channel. And other than that, I can ask you to subscribe, and if you have any Florida real estate questions related to any questions related to real estate in Florida, I'm happy to help. Email me, just ask in the comment section, or give me a call, and I'm happy to do the best I can for you. Thank you very much.